Yo, what's up, everybody? So, Rumble Studio just shitting the bed as if I don't have enough shit to worry about today. Oh my gosh. We're coming in hot. We're coming in salty. Ugh. So, going through OBS instead, which is fine. But yeah, I kept getting an error on Rumble's end, which is retarded. I usually use the built-in. There's direct RTMP with Rumble, and then there's like Rumble Studios that's kind of like StreamYard, and I use that personally because I can upload a lot of clips and just have that offline, and I don't need it on my PC. But maybe we got to start going down that route. And Twitch isn't even loading, but fuck Twitch. So who cares? But hey, welcome to another episode of the Power Up Podcast. Take a look at pop culture and see what's happening. Keep our minds sharp, up to date, all that fun stuff. If you enjoy that sort of thing, and if you just want to hear my 2 cents on everything, you can always hit the like and subscribe button. Right now, we're on YouTube, Rumble, X, and Kick. Twitch, it's being punished and not being streamed to because it's just not loading. So, whatever. Unfortunately, I do not have any clips loaded up or anything like that, which makes me sad because I always like having clips. And today has just been awful, mentally, physically, spiritually. Not good to say the least. So I could always use your guys' prayers on that. But thanks to everyone for hanging out with me today. We got some articles pulled up here. Take a look at Roblox and that whole fiasco of what's happening because they sound like a bunch of PDF lovers, which is quite disgusting. And then we'll take a look at the Gina Corano settlement with Disney. I'm glad for her to finally move on to the next chapter in her life. But of course, everyone upset over the fact that we really would have loved to have seen Disney sins be exposed. So some people upset over that. I kind of felt that way, but in the end, it's what Gina needs to do with her life to move on. So I guess whatever was in the email was damning enough to force them to settle. But we'll take a look at that and keep ourselves up to date on that. And then we got some other articles here too. So let's go ahead and we'll commence to jiggling. Okay, good. I was going to be like, dude, give me a break. I had everything set up and then I had to deal with a bunch of garbage. And you're telling me that like the stuff I have set up was not going to work, but it is. So never mind. All right. So starting off at Fandom Pulse here, actress Tati Gabrielle claims Hollywood has an incredible responsibility to reflect the world back at itself to teach us. I laughed at this headline right away because Hollywood is not only in no position to have any sort of responsibility to preach to the world about stuff and to reflect anything of the world back at itself. But the sins that take place behind closed doors in Hollywood is so gigantic. And this actress is delusional. This is the actress that's going to be in the new, the Neil Kuckerman game. I can't even remember what it's called because I don't. Intergalactic. There we go. So Netflix's You actress and the primary actor of Naughty Dog's upcoming Intergalactic Heretic Prophet game claims that Hollywood, quote, has an incredible responsibility to reflect the world back at itself, to teach us, to remind us what we've been, to let us know where we should go. Laughable because we have seen the sins piled high involving Hollywood, and that would be the very last place to get your morals from. I would tell you to go seek scripture, because that is indeed the truth, and you can come to that conclusion easily by reading it and even researching the historical aspects to it and other stuff too. But that's your journey. You know, We're called to make disciples and whatnot, but in the end, it's God's power that reaches out to people and hopefully establish a relationship with Him, because He does want to have a relationship with you, and wants you to join Him in paradise. And if you don't want to, that's fine, and He'll send you. He will separate Himself for you, and it's not going to be good. So apparently, she was doing an interview, Italy's Supra Guida, and she was asked, how important is it for your series to give young people the tools to recognize a toxic relationship? So this question already sounds retarded. It may have to do with the You series or whatever it's called, but just the terminology toxic relationship, it's this liberal woke garbage, buzzwords and all this nonsense that just needs to be removed. She answered, I think it's the most important. I have always felt, and this is something that I carry with me in my work, that Hollywood, from filmmaking to series, has an incredible responsibility to reflect the world back at itself, to teach us, to remind us where we've been, to let us know where we should go. So I hope she lives up to that, because if someone makes a Hollywood film that's very conservative, Christian-based, and calls out a bunch of this stupid bullshit, I would hope that she would stand by that exact saying. But of course, we know the reality of it is that, if it's their ideology, it's fine and it gets a pass. If it's anything else, it should be stopped, censored, destroyed, whatever, XYZ, blah, 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 sort of thing. So to me, I think it's so important, no matter if you're making something that is fun and sort of silly and a comedy piece, or very much so, especially with drama. She continued, young people today more than ever get taught by the internet. That right there is a huge problem. Get taught by TV and film. Mr. Rogers said a very good example of what it means to actually use TV and film to actually benefit people. And these people are certainly not a Mr. Rogers. And they'll say they love Mr. Rogers and what he taught and stuff, but no, they don't. So you're handling very precious minds. In that way, and particularly when it comes to healthy relationships, and especially, say, at home, they didn't have an example of whether from their parents or from their family members, or even more so, do you need to take the responsibility to go? This is what can happen, and this is what should not be. Right there. This is what can happen. So instilling that fear that, if you don't have parents or whatever, like, you're going to get bad morals or something. And this is what it should not be. And so let Hollywood teach you what a proper relationship is. Completely delusional. After sharing a brief anecdote regarding You and how a number of women have expressed that they want the show's serial killer to stalk them, Gabriel added, be aware to not fall in love with false promises, to know one's worth as a woman. Oh my gosh. And I think too, for young men, had to throw that in there, unless she wanted to be super sexist, to teach them that, yes, it's, of course, fall in love with the girl, but treat her with respect, treat her with love. I have no idea what this show is, and I'm glad I don't know, because it already sounds retarded. I mean, you can see the picture down here of who this person is. Women should do the same thing for their men, or treat them with love, treat them with respect. She continued, there is not one without the other, men and women. We need each other to create the world. We both have very powerful strengths, and those are to be celebrated. It's funny that you're trying to like showcase that, like, oh, I'm all for equality and stuff like that, and then you're in a video game that completely hates women because you have this retarded shaved head look. I mean, anything with a septum ring, like, instantly avoid and don't listen to. That's kind of my personal coming to whenever I see those nose rings. Immediately disregard whatever they say, because they're probably wrong, and usually they are. But broken clock is right twice a day at certain points. Later in the interview, Gabrielle was asked, here's the important question. Were you hurt by the controversies surrounding intergalactic controversies? Controversies meaning people saw this and said, no, thank you. Why are you defeminizing women? She replied, I was. And to be honest, it's sad to see that. You know, video games, I think, even more than TV and film, you have so much more world to play with the imagination. We can demonstrate what the world can be in ways and worlds that we would never dream of. And so to know that there was so much hatred and so much backlash, it was hurtful. But at the same time, it was empowering for me to be able to go, okay, well, one, okay, this is where the world's at. And I think in order to change the world, you have to meet it where it's at. And two, to go 10 times harder than what it is that I'm doing. What a delusion. What a delusion. Sometimes the world, like, these people need to realize that the world was set perfect, like the first time in existence. And it's due to this mentality that has destroyed a lot of the world and stuff like that. Because this didn't exist back in the day because it was never an issue. This didn't need to be propped up. This is actually hurting women more than helping women because it's saying you're not special. You're feminine. You should be ashamed of your feminine features. You need to be more man-like. And this ties in, you know, with the whole transgender issue and all this stupid shit. This is what it's saying. And of course, this is Neil Druckmann, of course, and he hates women. So, like, no, the backlash and the supposed hatred and stuff like that. No, it's hatred towards the bastardizing of things that was perfect in the beginning. That's what the hatred is. And you try to bring on this crap of like, oh no, we need to, you know, this is where the world is. I'm in order to change the world. No, it was perfectly fine before you showed up. Before a lot of people showed up. That's what it is. Like I said, Marion taught me not to back down for anyone, and anything should continue its own that way. I took the hurt, I swallowed it, and I turned it into fire. And I feel like those same people that were hating are going to play the game. And guess what? They're going to love it so they can stay mad. This is another delusion things because let's be real. The only thing that they can that this is correct about is that the people who hate the game are indeed probably going to play it, but they're not going to play it because they're supporting it. They're going to play it because they're going to hate review it. They're going to hate play it, and they're going to make fun of it. Now, these people, of course, we know the mental gymnastics that they do. Whatever you do, they'll be right in some way, shape, or form. So they'll see that and they'll go, well, you're playing the game anyway, so we got your money, haha, sort of thing. I've come to the mindset that when it comes to if you didn't do anything, they would blah, blah, blah. You know, they're not meeting resistance and not getting their morality shattered to understand what actual truth is. And therefore, they'll go on continuing in this mental delusion. Then then there's the opposite to where even if you do play it and they try to go, haha, you know, whatever sort of thing, you're playing it and you're making fun of it at the same time. Now, they act like that doesn't affect them, but it really does. Because look at this. In the same sentence, she said it was hurtful and so that stuff. And then it's like, oh, no, I'm so tough. And guess what? They're going to play it, you know, be mad. It's like, no, you just, like, literally a statement ago, you said on how, you know, you were hurt and all that stuff. So we know what actually hurts you. And it really got underneath your skin. And now you're just trying to cover for the fact of, you know what? You know, they're going to love it. You know, these people saying that they hate the game, they're going to play it, they're going to love it, and they can, you know. Gabrielle is correct in that Hollywood has an incredible responsibility. However, she is wrong in asserting that its job is to reflect the world back on itself. No, Hollywood and all those who work in it must adjust their economic, political, and artistic and technical aspects so as never to oppose the common good. All right. This is fandomdom, so they are a little religion-based. So now we're getting a quote from Pope Paul the Sixth. Explains in Inner Murfica, whatever. This does not mean one should not portray moral evil. On the contrary, he shares that the narration, description, or portrayal of moral evil, even through the media of social communication, can indeed serve to bring about a deeper knowledge and study of humanity, and with the aid of appropriately heightened dramatic effects can reveal and glorify the grand dimension of truth and goodness. I do agree with that. And that's what I try to do with my show. That, you get some people that say, they'll just say, flee from it, stick your head in the sand, everything's demonic, everything's blah, 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 gooner this, and all that stuff. And there comes a point to where you cross that line to where now you're just being ignorant and shutting your ears, and you'll end up being a hypocrite. And which is a sin, by the way. But when you I think in a past show I've incorrectly stated something with Solomon. But he pretty much says not to worry about the two extremes, and where your fear of God lies, everything else falls in place, which exactly ties into what Jesus talks about of what's the number one commandment. Love the Lord God with all your heart, soul, strength, and mind, and then love your neighbor like you love yourself. So when you have that fear of God, those two, that it complements exactly what Jesus was talking about. In fact, you put Jesus's commentary first, then Solomon, because you should base everything on what Christ said, and it ties together. And that's the one thing and Solomon warns that, when you do, there can be extremes on both sides. And when you obsess over either one extreme or the other extreme, or both at the same time, that begins to, cross-contaminate and begins to warp and twist stuff. And you got to be very careful about that. And that's why he says at the end, you just fear God and everything should be, falls into place. So that's more of an understanding I did, since I've actually taken some time to kind of read up on that. So I think I've incorrectly, well, at the time I was ignorant of exactly what I was reading, and I should have studied more. But there you go. That's kind of like what I've now come to learn when studying it and praying about it more. However, he warns, nevertheless, such presentations ought always to be subject to moral restraint, lest they work to the harm rather than the benefit of the soul, particularly when there's question of treating matters which deserve reverent handling, or which, given the baneful effects of original sin in men, could quite readily arouse bad desires in them. This is true, but then again, my thing to this is, look at how Jesus told the disciples when he sent them out to cast out spirits and sent them to town and demons and all that, and he sent them to towns, and he told them, like, go around the town, the spirit will etch out and see if someone will take you in, and see if they'll have you. And ultimately, in the end, if they didn't have you, the spirit returns to you, and then leave. Like, you did your thing, they didn't want to receive it. Just shake the sand off your sandals, move on. That's what needs to happen. So, to me, this gives off a kind of walking on eggshells sort of thing, which sometimes can be good, but then determining who crushed the egg and spread the eggshells, that's sometimes you just need to stomp right over it. So based on Gabriel's previous comment, she has aligned herself to oppose the common good. This can be seen in her response to gamers criticizing Intergalactic, the heretic prophet, and The Witcher 4 for pushing DEI and feminist agendas. There you go. We've seen this picture before. So badass, so brave. So, standing up. Furthermore, while she now claims that men and women need each other to create the world, and they have their own strengths, she previously promoted gender ideology back in 2023 of March during the Unforgettable Gala. She said, as far as with non-binary and transgender, I hope that we just start seeing that the future is here, whether we like it or not. We need to not just accept it, but embrace it. Nope. Embracing something and seeing not only the beauty in it, there is no beauty. This is the funny thing, is by trying to claim that there's beauty in it, you are essentially taking away the beauty of man and woman. And by trying to literally say there is no difference between the two, everything neutrals and everything is bland. And ultimately, no one's, everyone's boring and should be ashamed of the beauties that God gave them. But the way that it contributes to the world, it does more harm than good. We know this already, and contributes to the way that anybody of any race, gender, creed, color can form their identity as we walk through the world with pride. Right there. That's how sin entered the world, pride. Hello. Hello, Ben Shakar. God saw inequity building up inside him, and he convinced a lot of the angels to follow him. Then he convinced the serpents and a lot of the other hosts of the world. Nope. And they're chin up high, like I think it's so important for the generation coming behind us. No, the generation coming behind us are waking up. And I hope they don't listen to people like you. She also told The List in 2023, I feel that film and television is supposed to reflect the world. Okay. Reflect the world back at it. Okay, so she's reiterating the same thing. When you do that with the characters that I've played in a way that is grounded, that is normal. Yeah, right. As it is in our everyday life, that's how you give the best homage to someone who is standing in that field. Except you're grounded in delusion, and you're trying to bastardize everyday life. That's the thing. She even noted that the industry should take things even further. They can go further, as opposed to having just one character that's LGBTQ or non-binary. Make it reflect the way that our society is. Sprinkle more of it there. Oh, you mean like the pride parades where people pegging each other in the butthole and sucking each other off in pools and pissing on people? No. No, that should be immediately removed and thrown into Gehenna. Then, which will happen eventually. The networks can listen more to the fans and pander more to them by listening and understanding that when they're shouting their outrage towards things, it's not just because they want to be bratty. They want to be whatever, but they want to be represented properly. See, only when it's their side that does it. It's they just want to be represented XYZ. If it's the other side, if it's the enemy, oh no, they need to be silenced. It's attack. It's actually, insert whatever stupid hive mind poison that they spew. They want to see themselves. We all watch movies as children and find a piece of ourselves in a character, and that's what gives us inspiration or hope from the future. And the people who do that back in the day, they turned out just fine. And then you see people like what you're talking about, and you just look at that and you go, something's not right. It's quite clear. If they listen a little bit more, we can go a lot further. And then she also stated, more shows should have a consultant of some sort. Nope. An LGBT, if you're going to touch on our field in that topic, have a consultant. Nope. Have somebody that you can directly ask. Nope. Don't guess, because that's often the problem. Oh, no. That community has made a lot of stuff quite clear, that they're a bunch of disgusting freaks. Hey, whatever you do behind closed doors is your thing. But these people are saying that what we do behind closed doors is us. And that's when the problem arises, to what the one Pope talked about earlier, for the common good. When that stuff starts seeping out into the common good and contaminates everything. The showrunners that we had for the 100, they tried, and they were trying to be inclusive with that, but I think they didn't have enough education and enough information around it. I don't care about that crap. What do I make for comments? Fandom Pulse asks. Well, you guys heard what I think about that. But yeah, delusional. Hollywood should not be responsible of reflecting the world back to itself. Because Hollywood has declared that a certain ideology is the right way and anything else is the enemy. So when you have a bias like that, not a good look to have stuff reflect back at itself, that being the world. Okie doke. So, Video Game Chronicle here. Gamescom. Don't know if anybody has heard of that. What's up, Edith Talbert over on YouTube? Hello. So, this year's Gamescom will have more than 1,500 exhibitors for the first time. And apparently, it will take up a record high of 233,000 square meters. So this 1,500 exhibitors is going to apparently is the first time in history, the organizer says, for Gamescom. This takes place in Cologne, Germany. What a name. August 20th to the 24th. 1,500 exhibitors from 72 countries, breaking a new record. 233,000 square meters of floor space will be taken up at the Kalinamis venue, another new record for Gamescom, and 30,000 more the previous record. Opening night will take place in the venue hall for the first time, offering its largest stage to date with 5,000 seats and, quote, a highly modern technical infrastructure, end quote. President and CEO of Colonmess, Gerard Boss, applaud the figures in a statement saying Gamescom impressively underlines its economic relevance and its international radiance. Oh boy. We are investing in the targeted fashion and expansion, infrastructure, and continuing development in order to further reinforce the economic success of our exhibitors. The growth of the wonderful 233,000 square meters of area and the record registration numbers confirm the sustained success of the hybrid event concept. Together, we can already look forward to unprecedented variety. Okay, can we get to the point with like who's going to be there? Pretty much hyping. It's going to be immense. Gamescom week has never had so many highlights. Last month, the organizers claimed record high interest from game companies in attending the year's event. Gotta go, bedtime. Says eat up. Okay. Thanks for stopping by. Take care. With exhibitors numbers up to 11% year on year. 942 for you right now. Same here. All right, so the companies are Nintendo, Xbox, 2K, Bandai Namco, Bethesda, Blizzard Entertainment, Capcom, CD Projekt Red, Krafton, Level Infinite, the Pokemon Company, Ubisoft, Electronic Arts, Konami, Lego, Level Infinity, Marvelous Europe, Netflix, Paramount, Sega, and Tencent Games. So some solid people there. See ya. This year's Gamescom opening live. Okay. Will once again be hosted by Geoff Keighley on August 19th. The first partner confirmed this year's shows was Activision, which will present the worldwide release Call of Duty Black Ops 7, which I hear that old Battlefield is trying to crush Call of Duty, which I think it might be doing. I kind of fell out of those games for a while. So I've always stated that I like the modding community. I always respect what they do in terms of whether that's emulation. Incel tier sounds like Prison Pity, NC Natives, Embrace the Woke, or Get the Choke. If you're a dude that likes pegging, not only are you sus, you're Pegasus, says NC Native. What's up, dude? Oh, I'm retarded. I should have fudge. My red emote spread. Shoot. I should have turned on frickin' social stream ninja because I had to go another way. Damn it. Well, that was because I missed a lot of your chats there, my friend. My apologies. Everything has gone terribly wrong today, and I am tired of it. All right. Hopefully this will work now. Because I do have it installed. Here, I'm going to send a meatwad emote. Did it work? It is not. Well, I'll just have to cycle through everything. Taddy has to make us like her. Pretty much. Pretty much. Well, I'll just have to like go through the. Oh wait, that's right. That's what I need to do. I forgot about that. We actually have to pop out the chats. That's right. I forgot that you have to pop out the chats in order for Ninja social for a social stream to work. I forgot about that. All right, so now this should work. Kaboom. Yep. All right, we got it working. So modders, love them. They've helped with emulation. They've helped with translations. They fixed problems that for either back in the day they couldn't get done because of budget constraints, or they were just lazy. But a modder, creates a 4K portable game console with an NVIDIA RTX 4090 laptop GPU. Insane. So a Chinese modder, Kingchen DIU, has outperformed the portable console competition by including an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 490. I think that's actually the graphics card I have. At least a graphics card laptop. That's correct. A Chinese user has constructed the ultimate portable console. Not only is it the most powerful in the industry, but it is also the largest with the highest resolution on the market. As he demonstrated in his video, linked there, a high-end PC hardware allows his console to be the first capable of running games like Cyberpunk 2077. The portable console is based on the high-performance hardware of a gaming laptop. The console not only has 24-core Intel Core i9, oh geez, but also a powerful NVIDIA RTX 490 GPU with 9728 CUDA cores, 16 gigabyte of GDDR6 VRAM. Hardware is accompanied by 64 gigabyte of DDR5 RAM at 56,000 MTs and a 2 TB PCIe 4.0 NVMe SSD. Wow. And it looks like it's spaced, and I wonder how heavy that sucker is. I wonder how tired your hands would get. That is insane. Another distinguishing feature is the Dell display. We are looking at a 12.5-inch IPS touch panel with a 4K resolution, 3840, 2160 pixels. So it's consistent with the hardware of this portable console. Despite this display of strength, the console's design is rather decent. Obviously, we are ignoring the size because it is clear that they have adapted laptop hardware into the console-like design. The hardware already has a predetermined size, so at least it makes use of that to add a huge screen. Another good thing about its size is that it's providing good cooling. This is true. When playing God of War, the 2016 version, boo, at 4K, I mean, it's not a bad game, but play the OG. At 4K, 100 frames per second, in Cyberpunk 2077 with plus 60 frames per second, CPU has about 65 Celsius heat, while the GPU moves around 72 with the total power usage of 174 watts. These are excellent data points. However, the battery capacity and how long the battery will last are unknown. Well, there you go. Again, like hats off to modders and all that stuff. Whether that's excuse me, soft modding, hard modding, all of that fun stuff. It's always nice to see people figure out things and to push themselves to the limits, I guess you could say. there you go. All right. So, jumping back to Video Game Chronicle, and I have seen this. So, Pokemon McDonald's promo ends early in Japan due to extreme demand and wasted food. And that's unfortunate. Thousands of dollars worth of untouched food was reportedly discarded over the weekend. I don't see how can you just do that? In Japan, of all places, what the heck? A Pokemon McDonald's promotion that was supposed to last for 3 days in Japan was canceled after just one day as thousands of people descending on restaurants across Japan. The latest Pokemon McDonald's promotion kicked off in Japan on Saturday and was planned to last until Monday, August 11th. However, due to higher than expected sales, the promotion ended just one day. And the popularity of the promotion has stemmed from a Pikachu card that can be found in the Happy Meals, which features a new printing of the character and a special McDonald's stamp. The rarity of this card has caused its price to rise on the secondary market, and as a result, thousands of people made their way to McDonald's stores around Japan. Reports then emerged that people were buying thousands of dollars worth of food, removing the card, and then leaving the uneaten food on the street to rot. Wow. Pure disgusting. Like, absolutely fucking ridiculous. This, combined with reports of boxes of the cards being illegally sold by McDonald's employees, caused the promotion to be quickly shut down. Really, dudes? Really? All right, so there's the one pack, and then there's the picture of it. I mean, that's pretty cute. Look at it. This one sold 115, and this one sold 108. What a bunch of scumbags. Wow, that one's up to 179 yenny. Or yen. I think I said yenny from Dragon Ball Z, which is zenny, but I combined the two. McDonald's promotions typically feature reprinted versions of commonly available cards in an effort to stop this exact type of demand from taking hold. For this release, however, that trend wasn't followed. This is far from the first time a special Pikachu card has caused issues. The Pokemon Company was forced to apologize in 2023 after scalpers appeared to spoil a planned collaboration with the Van Gogh Museum, which saw a line of unique Pokemon X Van Gogh merchandise made available. When the items first went on sale, social media videos showed huge crowds swarming the museum, snatching up items, with claims that many people have bragged about plans to resell the items for profit. Special Pikachu promo card Pikachu with gray felt hat was given to customers for free after purchasing any item and quickly appeared for sale in large numbers in auctions for over $600. You know, well, this just goes to show that not even like Japanese people do the right thing, because Japan usually tries to keep a lot of stuff clean. But the fact that all these douchebags just bought this and then just let the food to rot is quite disgusting. What did this guy say? As long as there's demand, there will always be a secondary market for Pokemon cards. Global desire for promotional prints is practically frothing. I realize that regional rollouts won't be simultaneous, but all cards should be available everywhere from now on to avoid this. Yeah, but I don't know. Again, they're supposed to be special for a reason. But that's also based on the fact that you would expect people to be decent human beings, you know? And that's not to say a lot. I mean, there's a lot of foreigners in Japan as well. So that's not to say that all the people who did this were Japanese. Kind of have a sneaking idea of who the type of people would be. Wonder if Cologne, Germany smells better than any other city. Not only is he a modder, that's one bad motherfucker. Oh my goodness. I don't have any drum roll, but that was beautiful. Beautiful NC native. Mwah. But it's quite scummy. All right, back to tech for gamers. The Last of Us Part 3. won't arrive till halfway into PS6's generation, an insider claims. The fact they're even doing a part 3 is ridiculous. Naughty Dog announced its latest project, Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet, nearly 1 year ago. A few months later, the team also confirmed working on another game was moving along at the studio. And then previously, director Neil Cuckman stated that a third The Last of Us entry was being considered a few years back, suggesting Naughty Dog will eventually revisit The Last of Us. Elaborating on the future of the series, an insider stated that the third game is still many years away. It should stay so far away to that it doesn't even get made because the game has been ruined. Last of Us Part 2 arrived just 7 years after the first title, and the second game is already 5 years old at this point. According to insider Detective Seeds, The Last of Us Part 3 is likely to be released at some point during the PS6 generation. He believes that Naughty Dog's unannounced project is the series' third game, which will launch at the midpoint of the PS6 generation. This means that fans will not see a continuation of the IP till at least 2030. And that Intergalactic the Heretic Prophet is also expected to be a few years away from release. The game has been missing from significant events and placed in state of play since its reveal last year, suggesting that the release is at least a year or two away. It'd be nice if they actually made a woman desirable, like the main woman actually be a woman instead of a shaved-headed nobody. Naughty Dog itself has remained quiet about the series' future. The team continues to push the currently ongoing TV series and various re-releases of parts 1 and 2. For now, and should Insider's statement come to fruition, fans will wait more than a decade for the follow-up of The Last of Us Part 2. I'm not losing sleep over Part 3, and neither should anyone else. That's all I have to say about that. Wow, we got a lot of video game chronicles and tech for gamers stuff, but we're slowly getting there. I saw this as interesting. Former BioWare executive producer says EA was pitched multiple times to remaster the first 3 Dragon Age games. Fans have long called for a remaster of the first game similar to Mass Effect's Legendary Collection. Apparently, BioWare made several pitches to remaster the first 3 Dragon Age games, according to a former BioWare veteran. Speaking on the YouTube channel Mr. Matty Plays, Mark Dara, a former BioWare executive producer who joined the studios in 1997 and worked there for 24 years, said EA wasn't keen to remaster the first 3 games in the series in the same style as the Mass Effect Legendary Collection. He says there was a number of reasons for this, including EA's apparent dislike for remastered projects. Yeah, because the Veilguard did so well. What a bunch of retards. EA's historically been, and I don't really know why, but they've even said this publicly, they're kind of against remasters, Dara said. It's strange for a publicly traded company to basically seem to be against free money, but they seem to be against it. But that's just part of it. The other problem is that Dragon Age is just harder than Mass Effect to do, and to some degree, unknowably harder. Maybe only a little bit harder, maybe a lot harder. I don't think it's hard. I think they're still ass mad that the Veilguard failed miserably. He explained that one of the early suggestions his team made was, let's do Frostbite tools and let's find a mod house that seems talented and just pay them to do a remake of Dragon Age Origins. There are lots of pitches around. Is there a way we can bring Dragon Age Origins forward? And depending on what you do, like with the remaster, you kind of get Dragon Age 2 for free. With a remake, you don't. Dara noted that one of the potential blockers in the project was the difficulty in remastering the games across several different engines. One of the advantages that Mass Effect has for a remaster over Dragon Age, it's all Unreal instead of 2 different engines, he explained. But actually, just the fact that it's Unreal means that you can remaster Mass Effect essentially for money. If you're willing to spend money on it, you can go to an external house and they can do most of the work, which is sort of what happened with the Legendary Edition of Mass Effect. There's a bunch of people at BioWare working on it, but I don't remember how many, but it was not a ton. I don't remember how, it was not a ton. Latest entry in the series, Dragon Age the Veilguard, was released last year. The game was met with a lukewarm critical response and disappointment from hardcore fans. Oh no, let's be real. It failed. Not a lukewarm response. That's one. I tend to not even believe anybody that states like a very controversial game like had a lukewarm response. It was either it was twisted to hopefully appear that way, but it wasn't. Like the only game that kind of changed everybody's perspective and did surprisingly well despite the bastardization is the Silent Hill one. This was reflected in the game's underwhelming commercial performance. Publisher EA said that the fantasy RPG engaged around 1.5 million players during its first 2 months of availability, which was nearly half of its expectation. And then in January, BioWare general manager Gary McKay confirmed that the studio was downsizing, stating that the next Mass Effect game didn't require support from the full studio at this stage of its development. And they gave 3 out of 5 stars. Has a great character, but gameplay stuck in the past. Great characters. Yeah, sure. Sure. So this caught my eye for gamers here. Apparently, after Resident Evil 9, Leon will vanish from the series timeline for good, reveals Insider. Uh-oh. It's no secret that Leon Kennedy is one of the most iconic faces of the Resident Evil franchise. Sorry, Ada, you're popular too, but Leon still takes the crown. Fans have been obsessed with him for decades, and for good reason. He's been a central figure since the early days. So while Capcom hasn't confirmed whether the fan favorite will appear in 9, a trusted inside claims he will, but with a bittersweet twist. According to the leak, Resident Evil 9 will mark Leon's final major appearance in the series, bringing his long journey to a close. Resident Evil may feel different without Leon Kennedy, but the series has thrived without him before, so its future isn't in jeopardy. As far as I know, the insider Aesthetic Gamer 1, who has been pretty accurate with most of his past leaks, has revealed that Leon Kennedy's last significant role will feature in Resident Evil 9. Quote, as far as I know, part of Resident Evil 9's whole long-awaited endings and new beginnings stuff is supposed to be Leon's last major role in the timeline. He clarified that this doesn't mean Leon will disappear entirely. The insider says the character will still appear in CG movies and past timeline stories, but his role will likely end after the next game. Dusk Golem expanded on his thoughts, suggesting Leon will probably bow out of the series for good, with the line along the lines of, "I'm getting too old for this," or something similar. What's Requiem? Resident Evil Requiem. I'm not... Is that like... I don't know. I kind of fell out after 7. Yeah. There's still no confirmation on how Capcom will play it, so take it with a grain of salt. Also, fans shouldn't be too concerned, as even if it turns out to be true, the developer can always go back in the timeline. Well, there you go. Leon Kennedy may be coming to an end. So I had this one pulled up. Weapons director Resident Evil movie won't have existing characters because fans can play the games for their stories. I'm not going to tell Leon's story because Leon's story is told in the games, Zach Kreger says. Yeah, and then I just find this funny because it's like, well, you can just play the games. It's like, okay, then why should I watch? This is literally telling you that we'll just go play the games then, because you're not going to include fan favorites. Stupid. The director of the Resident Evil movie reboot says it won't feature characters from the game because their stories have already been told. Earlier this year, it was confirmed that Zach Kreger, the writer-director behind the critically acclaimed horror movie Barbarian and the recently released Weapons, will be writing and directing a new Resident Evil movie, which will reboot the film series. With Barbarian and Weapons achieving Rotten Tomato scores 92, 95 respectively, fans are getting excited about him. That would be Kreger directing a Resident Evil movie in the hope that it could result in similar critical praises. In an interview with Inverse, He has now explained that his film won't retell the stories for the games, but will instead feature new characters and tell a new story in the same universe. Kreger explained that because he's a big fan of the Resident Evil games, he doesn't feel there's any need to retell their story because in his eyes, they've already been told well enough. Let me say, this is not breaking the rules of the game, Kreger said, insisting that the new movie will respect Resident Evil lore. I'm the biggest worshiper of the game, so I'm telling a story that is a love letter to the game and following the rules of the game. Sure. It is obedient to the lore of the games, it's just a different story. I'm not going to tell Leon's story because Leon's story is told in the games. Fans already have that. I think a lot of people, though, want to see the characters like Leon, Jill, Chris, and Claire done right. That's the big thing. And so far, we've had, the cinematic Resident Evil movies, which I don't think are particularly good, and the beginning, early Resident Evil games. Some people enjoyed them, but were these characters really done right? I think that's what people are kind of asking. But they can play the game to see their stories. Is pretty much what Constantine film, which has already had the screen rights for Resident Evil since the 90s, will reportedly produce the reboot alongside with PlayStation Productions, a studio formed in 2019 by Sony Interactive Entertainment to adapt its original game properties for film and television partnership with Sony Pictures. They have a release date of September 18th, 2026 for the movie. The film is the second attempt for the Constantine film to reboot the Resident Evil movie series with 2021 film Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, which was based on the first two games, earning a Rotten Tomato score of 30%. There you go. See, that's the thing. People want to see these characters treated right in a good movie. Like, I'm all for trying to keep it in the universe, but have different people. There's been plenty of Resident Evil games that have done very different people. What is it, Resident Evil Survival or something? But, it could be, if you're trying to reboot it, you might as well try to start strong with, like, the already established characters, and then you can move on to the other stuff. So I don't think this guy is approaching this the right way personally, but could be wrong. But there you go. All right, so Fandom Wire. PlayStation 6 could launch by 2028, according to leaks, and here's what to expect. So here's everything you need to know about the PlayStation 6 and the handheld so far from its release date to specs. It's hard to believe that it's already been nearly 5 years since the PlayStation 5 first launched. This means Sony's newest home console is roughly halfway through its lifespan, going by previous console releases. However, it would appear that Sony intends to axe this generation even quicker, thanks to a recent rumor that points out the 2028 release for the PlayStation 6. These leaks also happen to go into the expected hardware specifications and roughly estimated performance uplift against the previous generation. You can find everything about the leaks along with the rumored details of a PS6 handheld. So what to expect from the upcoming PlayStation 6? To begin with, the PS6's architecture and design are all but confirmed to have been finalized as of the time of writing this article. So play has no limits. It's projected an estimated manufacturing schedule for mid-2027, followed by another estimated release window between October of 2027 and January of 2028, which does sound a bit too optimistic if I'm being honest here. As far as the specifications go, here's what we know so far. The CPU is 8X Zen 6 or even newer cores. Compute units 40 to 48. Architecture is going to be RDNA 5. The bus width is 160-bit or 192-bit. Memory is going to be GDDR7 at 32 GTs. The card also has a rather low total board power of only 160 watts, which seems surprisingly powerful for its performance. The rasterization performance is expected to be 3 times that of the PS5 Slim, with ray tracing performances being a lot higher. This device has been assigned the codename of Orion and is rumored to be 3NM as well. Interesting enough, the leaks also seem to mention that Orion was meant to be based on a more custom RDNA 3 solution, but AMD might have convinced Sony to go for the more traditional desktop layout in the end. Console should also be backwards compatible for the PS5 if there were any games, PS4, and PS3 support remains a mystery. Oh, PS3, that would be so great. If they did if they did make PS3 backwards compatible, I'd be down to get one. Also, expect a handheld version of the PlayStation 6. It's not only the matter of the PS6 family, though, and we're not talking about the Pro here. Sony plans on releasing a new proper handheld this time around, one that can actually play games natively instead of streaming them. This console has been codenamed Canis and features the following specifications: 4x Zen 6C cores of CPU, 12 to 20 at 1.6 to 2.0 gigahertz, compute units, architecture RDNA 5, and bus width and memory 128-bit bus with LPD, DR5X, 75,000 system RAM. This is based on the 3NMI die, and interestingly enough, includes backward support for up to PS4 games. This also makes more akin to a regular PC gaming handheld, possessing a micro SD card slot, an NVMe drive, along with a USB-C video output capabilities. As far as features goes, it has a touchscreen, advanced haptics, dual mics. The rasterization performance is expected to be roughly half of the PS5, which puts it slightly ahead of the Xbox ROG Ally X. And there you have it for all your PlayStation goodness. Alrighty, so we are at the main articles here, and that is with Gina Corano and Roblox. So starting off, Gina Carano, this is a rather old statement, or article, but we'll read it anyway. The legal battle, which stemmed from her 2021, actress Gina Carano, known for her role as Cara Dune, The Mandalorian, has issued her first public comments following the announcement of the settlement in a high-profile lawsuit against Disney and Lucasfilms. Legal battle, which stemmed from her 2021 firing over supposedly controversial social media posts, concluded amicably on August 7th of 2025, both parties expressing a desire to move forward. So we got a Variety post here. Carano's responses shared on X began with a brief enigmatic message before evolving into a lengthy, heartfelt statement that highlighted gratitude, reflection, and optimism. Initial reactions, a subtle nod to truth and freedom. Carano's first response came shortly after news of the settlement broke via a Variety report, and the truth shall set you free. Smiley face, heart, hands. In a conscious post on X, she wrote, and the truth shall okay. We just read that. This is a biblical reference from John 8:32, appeared to allude to her long-held belief that transparency and justice would ultimately prevail in her case. The tweets quickly garnered attention, amassing thousands of likes and sparking speculation among fans about her feelings on the resolution. The phrase resonated with supporters who viewed the lawsuit as a fight for free speech, echoing Carano's previous criticism of Disney's handling of her termination. We can see that right here. In earlier stages of the litigation, Corano has accused the company of misrepresenting her views to justify her dismissal, stating in a 2024 post, Disney has confirmed what has been known all along. They will fire you if you say anything they disagree with, even if they have to misrepresent, malign, and mischaracterize you to do it. Later that day, Gina Carano expanded on her thoughts on the Disney lawsuit settlement in a detailed statement posted on X, quoting the Variety article and addressing the situation directly. So this is the full statement. Post, which has since received over 86,000 likes and thousands of reposts, revealed a mix of relief, appreciation, and forward-looking enthusiasm. In it, she emphasized the agreement as a positive step for all involved and expressed hope for reconciliation within the Star Wars community. So here's her full statement. I have come to an agreement with Disney/Lucasfilms, which I believe is the best outcome for all parties involved. I hope this brings some healing to the Force. I want to extend my deepest, most heartfelt gratitude to Elon Musk, a man I've never met who did this good Samaritan deed for me in funding my lawsuit. Thank you, Mr. Musk and X, for backing my case and asking for nothing in return. To my lawyer at Shar Jaffe, who walked me through this unknown territory, thank you for your wisdom and guidance. I am humbled and grateful to God for his love and grace in this outcome. I'd like to thank you all for your unrelenting support throughout my life and career. You've been the heartbeat that has kept my story alive. I hope to make you proud. I'm excited to flip the page and move on to the next chapter. My desire remains in the arts, which is where I hope you will join me. Heart. Yes, I'm smiling. From my heart to yours, Gina. Corano's words demonstrated the personal toll of the ordeal while highlighting key figures who supported her. She thanked Elon Musk, financially backed through X, enabled the lawsuit to proceed. Musk, who had pledged in 2023 to fund legal action for users fired over their X post, responded to Corano's statement with a simple heart emoji. Corano replied, "Heart, thank you." She also acknowledged her legal team and her fans, crediting their support as the heartbeat sustaining her career. The statement closed on an uplifting note with Corano affirming her passion for the arts and signaling readiness for new projects. The settlement term remains confidential, but a Lucasfilm spokesperson provided a statement to Variety. The Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilms are pleased to announce that we have reached an agreement with Gina Corano to resolve the issue in her pending lawsuit against the companies, they said. Ms. Corano was always well respected by her directors, co-stars, and staff, and she worked harder. See, I don't believe this. No, I don't think they were. They didn't respect her. Because if they did, they would have stood up for her, but they didn't. Because they felt they would get the backlash too. And she worked hard to perfect her craft while treating her colleagues with kindness and respect. With this lawsuit concluded, we look forward to identifying opportunities to work with Ms. Corano in the near future. And I think this is the thing where a lot of people may have mixed feelings about. Why should she go back to a company that, blacklisted her pretty much? And to think that they won't do it again. Money means nothing to them. Olive Branch suggests potential future collaborations, a stark contrast to the acrimony of the past 4 years. Yeah, see, now all of a sudden they're switching their tune. 4 years they were bitter about this. And now all of a sudden they're just switching tunes. A lot of people are saying, I guess whatever email she has is pretty damning of it. And I think that's where a lot of people are frustrated and why they're a little disappointed in the settlement is they wanted Disney's sins to be aired. I know I personally wanted to see the sins that Disney and Lucasfilm has committed because they need to be punished. And a lot of people feel that punishment in terms of a settlement isn't enough. But Legal Mindset pointed out something that is true. And in the end, it's all based on Gina and for her to move on. And that ultimately in the end, a lot of cases in the end settle on settlement. And that's the thing. A lot of cases settle on settlement. And if people say no and they continue to do it, they're going to spend more money, more time. And by the time you actually get to a court case or whatever, or you see a judge or whatever, it's not worth the money anymore and stuff. So I'm one where I'm happy for Gina to move on with her chapter, but at the same time, disappointed that Disney hasn't been thoroughly punished. But you could make the argument as well that they've been punished. People have see them for what they are. They're snakes, all that stuff. But is that enough? Is that enough to have them change their ways? We don't know. Corano's firing in February 2021 followed a post deemed inflammatory by Lucasfilms, who alleged that her post drew a comparison between modern political divisions. Her lawsuit filed in 2024 alleged discrimination and wrongful termination, claiming male co-stars face no repercussions for similar expressions. Yeah, that's the biggest hypocrisy, is fuckboy Pedro can post this stuff and he's perfectly fine. Around the same time, Mandalorian star Pedro Pascal shares social media posts associating Trump supporters to those same atrocities and received no backlash. The case drew widespread debate on free speech in Hollywood, amplified by Musk's involvement. Which is funny too, because Democrats were all responsible for this, by the way. Like the KKK were founded by liberals. Um, the Nazis were socialist workman parties, all democratic ideology that just get projected onto the right, and then when they get caught with their hand in the cookie jar, they talk about a big switch that takes place. It's the same script over and over. We hear this all the time. So Corano's comments signal a desire to heal and refocus on creative, potentially paving the way for Star Wars Return or other venues. I personally wouldn't. I mean, if she really wants to return to Cara Dune, maybe. As far as I'm concerned, all the people who are against her should be fired. Fired in some way, shape, or form, or leave before she returns. So I think there's still plenty of weeds and snakes in there. Since her dismissal, she has worked on independent projects, including films with the Daily Wire. The settlement could broaden her opportunities, especially with Disney's expressed interest in future work. In a cultural landscape grappling with speech boundaries, Corano's reflections offer a personal lens of reconciliation. As she noted, I hope this brings some healing to the Force, a nod to Star Wars lore that encapsulates her new hope. Well, I am happy for her. I'm happy that she has moved on. Yeah, this person says it. Yeah, this person quoted the statement made by Disney. What a load of bullshit. We know exactly what they think of Gina over at that cesspool of a company. They allowed their employees to organize harassments against her and even join in themselves after she refused to be browbeaten by them over her own profile, all while keeping the soy-filled cuck that compared half the country, more than half, if the popular vote was any indication, to fucking Nazi Germany and rising him on a pedestal he doesn't deserve at all. What a shit show. This whole situation is no discovery, no consequences, just Disney losing some pocket change while Gina goes off into the sunset with a horrific victory while nitwits celebrate this as a real victory. And I agree with all that until the end. At the end of the day, Gina needs to decide on how long this bag she needs to carry. This person's a little upset. She had Musk's lawyers she should not have settled and let the fish off the hook. She let us down. So there you go. There's some frustrations and whatnot. And who knows? Maybe we won't know on how much Musk would be stilling to go with, especially if he's paying for it. Like, would he have kept on going? We don't know. Maybe that got answered later. I'm happy that she moved on. I am disappointed that it doesn't seem like Disney got punished enough. And that, yeah, like some people said, it is kind of infuriating that, seems like no discovery, no consequences, just Disney losing money. That's the thing, is that that's the other thing too, is Disney may have lost some money, but we're not seeing any sort of punishment or no consequences from the people inside of Disney. I think that's the thing that upsets a lot of people the most, myself included. Like, she's not, I don't know if she's talked to Pedro Pascal, but why would you? He's a snake. All right, so now you're on the biggin. You're on the big one. Roblox. Roblox being scummy. So Roblox chief safety officer sells $800K in stock amid backlash over banning Vigilante Predator Hunter. So an unfolding controversy that has sparked widespread debate on child safety and online gaming, Roblox Corporation Chief Safety Officer Matthew Kaufman sold over $800,000 worth of company stock shortly after the platform issued a cease and desist order to prominent YouTuber known for exposing child predators. The timing has raised questions among users and advocates as the company faces criticism for prioritizing its image over protective child protection measures. So, background on the vigilante effort, and I knew this article would cover this. So, in case anybody may not know. So, Michael, a 22-year-old creator who operates under the YouTube and X handle Real Schlep, has built a following by posing as minors on Roblox to catch and expose individuals attempting to groom children. His efforts have led to tangible safety results, including the arrest of 6 predators within the Roblox community over the past year, doing the Lord's work. Good job. But in a video titled Roblox is Threatening to Sue Me for Protecting Kids, posted August 9th, 2025, Schlep detailed his work, stating within the last year, me and my team have gotten 6 predators arrested within the Roblox community. He emphasized that nearly all of those arrests admitted to prior offensive against other Roblox users. Schlepp's motivation stems from personal trauma. He's revealed in the video that he was groomed on Roblox as a child by a popular developer who, quote, manipulated me and frequently exposed me to gore, not safe for work material, and loads of other stuff that a kid should never see. Very true. This experience nearly led him to take a drastic self-harm actions, and when his mother contacted Roblox for help, the company dismissed her concerns. Despite this, Schlepp continued using the platform, eventually channeling his experiences into advocacy. And this is unfortunately where that line begins. Or where the line gets blurry. Because yes, companies should have, from the law, certain shields to avoid this sort of stuff to happen, you know? But, you know, it's also not Roblox's responsibility to parent. It shouldn't be anybody's responsibility to parent of what your child is consuming. You should know what's happening. You should know what's playing. Side scrollers, I think, showed a video of a mom figuring out what was happening. This ties into dropping kids in front of games, movies, TVs, all that stuff, because it's the free babysitter. So there's that sort of aspect too. But again, of course, there's also this aspect where, yeah, if there's some disgusting stuff going on, you need to take responsibility and you need to take action on getting rid of that stuff. And yeah, it's not looking good at all when 5 people have already been busted. And the person who did that is going, yeah, Roblox is like threatening to sue me. So that means you're more interested about your image than the safety of children, which is absolutely disgusting. So we have a post right here. Hey, Ted Cruz, I live in Texas. Could I have a 5-minute conversation with you about Roblox? I've gotten 6 predators across the country arrested for it, yet they sent me a cease and desist and I was groomed on Roblox as a kid by a child predator, and then there's a bunch of other stuff. So, like I just read in a post that he made in a plea to Senator Ted Cruz on X, highlighting his commitment to preventing similar incidents and improving Roblox safety. His team has collaborated with law enforcement's reporting cases to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and appearing on local news to demonstrate evidence of predatory behavior. One notable case involved tipping off police about a 20-year-old attempting to lure a 13-year-old, resulting in an arrest. Ew. Cease and desist and banned. So on August 9th, Roblox then schlepped a cease and desist letter accusing him of violating platform policies by engaging in, quote, simulated child endangerment conversations, sharing personal identifiable information, and directing users off platform. Why didn't they send any cease and desist to all these other disgusting people? The letter shared publicly stated that his actions are exposing our users to increased risk. Wow. And warned of account closures, prohibiting him from creating new ones to evade enforcement. They can just stop VPNs, I guess. I don't know. Roblox further claimed that vigilante efforts like Schlepp's increase the risk of more users being exposed as bad actors. In response, Schlepp refuted the claims, explaining in his video that his methods adhere to standard predatory catching protocols where, quote, predators are supposed to be the ones talking sexually to you. He expressed frustration over Roblox's inaction on reports. Every account I've ever made on Roblox has been terminated, and Roblox sent me a cease and desist letter to me. Not a single Roblox predator I've gotten arrested has faced any action similar to this. I have no words. Since then, as we just read, all of his accounts dating back to when he was 8 years old have been terminated. Every account I ever made, terminated. Roblox, yeah, we just read that. Roblox has defended its action in a blog post titled How Roblox Partners with Law Enforcement, published on August 6, 2025. The company acknowledges that vigilante groups may have the public's interest at heart, but argues their methods are harmful. Dude, no, they're not. Oh my gosh, this is so retarded. Actions taken by vigilante groups increase the risk of more users being exposed as bad actors and can delay enforcement efforts by both Roblox and law enforcement, the post states. I think people are just retarded nowadays. Like, you can understand, like, shock value humor, dark humor, all that stuff. You could tell the difference between someone saying that shit just to get a response to, like, then going out of their way to going, like, knowing these are kids, and then doing this stuff and then trying to meet up with them. Huge difference. I don't know. To me, it just seems so simple. Roblox emphasizes that law enforcement professionals are best positioned to investigating potential crimes. If he's using the same tactic as law enforcement, what's the difference? It's just because they're part of the government. Gosh, sometimes the government is inadequate. Come on. And urges users to report violations through official channels such as NCMEC's Cyber Tip Tool or Roblox Trusted Flagger program. Company highlighted its proactive measures. As part of our proactive moderation systems, we leverage advanced dedications and rapid response protocols to report possibly illicit activities, violent threats, or other real-life harm to law enforcement, the post said. We are focused on relentless innovation, and our work on safety is never done. They partner with the FBI and CMEC to escalate threats, improve safety, but critics point out that with over 7 million daily users and only about 3,000 moderators, the platform struggles to keep up. Yes. Stance comes amid an ongoing lawsuit alleging Roblox failed to protect minors from predators. A July 2024 Bloomberg investigation noted that the platform has become a hunting ground for predators where they shift conversations off platform to evade detection. So you have all that, and then just days after the cease and desist and a mug-growing calls for Kaufman's resignation, the chief's safety officer sold 6,000 shares of Roblox Class A common stock at $133.67 per share at $802,020. This transaction was filed with the SEC under a pre-adoptive rule, whatever, from November 2024, leaving Kaufman with, 301,223 shares. And we got so fuck you, you piece of shit. While such sales are routine for executive, the timing coinciding with the controversy has fueled speculation. Change.org petition called for Kaufman's resignation, citing his role in the blog post and handling of safety issues as gained traction. The events have ignited outrage online. On Reddit, users criticized Roblox for seemingly protected predators over victims. Prominent Roblox creators like Craft have spoken out with videos titled Roblox Bandage Schlepp, amassing hundreds of thousands of views. Safety advocates argue that banning vigilantes like Shep could deter reporting or worsen the predator problem. Yeah, this is true. Now, I will not lie. I'm biased towards the vigilanteism because if all of this stuff is happening and you're claiming you take all these measures and only 3,000 gets reported and there's 7 million, you're not doing a good enough job. Sorry. Hate to say that. Schlep has called for broader awareness, urging his video, the most important thing we can all collectively do right now is share what's going on in Roblox. Tell your parents, tell a congressman, tell a journalist. Parents, yes. Congressman, yes. Journalist, eh. So Roblox navigates these safety challenges. The incident shines a light on the tension between user-led initiatives and corporate control in ensuring online safety for children. Yes, and this is unfortunate with the Online Safety Act thing. Like this does suck that this is happening around this time too, because now this is giving more fuel to people for big brother government to look over your shoulder. And still, I'm one in the end where we did not have this shit happen back in the day. And if you ever been in the past Call of Duty lobbies, shit got nasty. But we made it out through the end of the day, and none of this stuff was happening at least that I'm aware of. So something like it works. Back in the day, it worked. And I'm trying not to see this as rose-tinted glasses or whatever, but none of this has happened. But as technology advanced, like all this crazy shit is happening. And of course, the company has not issued further comments on the stock sales or specific allegation beyond its blog post because they're a bunch of bitches. Well, that is all I have for tonight. So, with that being said, let's wind down with this day in gaming in terms of games that were released throughout the years. Coming from GameFAQs, PC. Just PC. There you go. Ooh, Dragon Ball Daimao Fukatsu. That is... Do I have that game? I do not, but it's the battle karting type game. And I think people have translated it. I need to play that game. I've been trying to play a lot of the Dragon Ball Z games. Oh gosh. The Adventures of Bayou Billy. There you go. Ooh, Wild Guns. Excellent game. Paranormal Cotton. What the heck is that? Huh. Interesting. Nada de Cotton, a witch with unquenchable craving for candy. Oh. Madden NFL 2003, 2004. King of Fighters Maximum Impact. Madden NFL 09. Silent Hills. Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel, Dawn of the Battle Royale, if you like Yu-Gi-Oh! Metamorphosis. Some solid games, especially in the beginning. Definitely Wild Guns. But as bad as it is, Bayou Billy has become notorious. I like the Dragon Ball Damayo Fukatsu, so that's involving Piccolo Damayo. And I always do the next day. Oh my goodness. F-Zero. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. F-Zero was released tomorrow. 34 years ago. Super Mario World. The Super Nintendo. Look at that. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. Classic games. Echo Knight. Oh, Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver. Dang. This is a great list for tomorrow. Madden NFL 2002. Victoria 2. Darksiders 2, which I think I have that. Did I sell that for the 360? I might have this game. I never continued it. I should. Disney's DuckTales Remastered 2013. Wow. Sleeping Dogs. Payday 2. Walking Dead, the Telltale series. That's actually a pretty good series. Dude, excellent list for tomorrow. But there you guys go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for hanging out with me. I feel a lot better, but keep me in your prayers. A lot of attacks happening, and I'm tired of it. But with that being said, I shall leave you guys for tonight. You guys have a good rest of your night. We'll raid. Let's see. We'll raid Fuzzy Pickle. He's a new guy I stumbled across. So show him some love. You guys have a good night. Take care. God bless and peace.